For years, the UK economy has been sinking under inflation, high interest rates, and falling living standards. But now the numbers are shifting. Before you believe the talk of recovery, there's one brutal question we must ask. Is the UK economy finally recovering, or is this just the calm before the next storm? Welcome to UK Economic Report, your go-to channel for the latest updates on the UK economy. From inflation and interest rates to housing trends and government policies, we break down the numbers so you can understand how they impact your finances. To understand what's happening now, you have to remember how deep the damage ran. The UK didn't face just one shock, but several stacked on top of each other. Brexit disrupted trade and labor flows. The pandemic shut down entire sectors and left government finances stretched. Then inflation exploded, driven by global energy prices, supply chain chaos, and rising interest rates across the world. By the time inflation peaked, confidence had already been crushed. Businesses delayed investment, consumers pulled back spending, and growth flatlined. But economies don't stay frozen forever. Slowly, almost quietly, some key indicators have begun to shift. Inflation, once running out of control, has eased significantly from its peak. That matters more than any headline GDP number, because inflation was the force draining real incomes. As price growth slowed, wages finally started catching up. For the first time in years, many workers saw their pay rise faster than the cost of living. It doesn't feel like prosperity yet, but it does feel less like free fall. The labor market tells a complicated story. Unemployment has remained relatively low compared to past crises, which has helped prevent a full-blown recession in household incomes. However, job vacancies have declined. Hiring has slowed, and businesses are more cautious. This isn't a booming labor market. It's a fragile one, balancing between resilience and exhaustion. Employers are no longer desperate to hire, but they're also reluctant to lay people off, fearing they won't be able to replace skills later. Interest rates are another crucial piece of the puzzle. The Bank of England raised rates aggressively to fight inflation, pushing mortgage costs sharply higher. That crushed housing market activity and put enormous pressure on households rolling off fixed-rate deals. Recently, rates have stabilized and expectations of future cuts have begun to build. Even the belief that rates won't rise further can change behavior. Businesses start planning again. Buyers return cautiously. Confidence, the most fragile economic asset, begins to flicker back to life. The housing market itself shows signs of finding a floor. Prices fell in real terms, and in some areas nominally too. Transactions slowed dramatically, but the feared crash never fully materialized. Limited housing supply, population growth, and years of underbuilding have acted as a support under prices. If mortgage rates ease gradually, housing could move from drag to stabilizer, not a boom, but no longer a crisis feeding panic through the economy. Government finances remain tight, and that limits how strong any recovery can be. Debt levels are high, public services are under strain, and there is little room for large-scale stimulus. That means this recovery, if it is one, won't be fueled by big government spending sprees. It will depend instead on private sector confidence, productivity improvements, and whether businesses believe the UK is a place worth investing in again. This is where the picture becomes uncertain. Investment has been a long-term weakness in the UK economy, even before recent crises. Companies held back during years of political uncertainty and global shocks. Now, with some stability returning, the question is whether they finally commit capital to new factories, technology, skills, and infrastructure. Without that, growth will remain slow and vulnerable. Consumer behavior offers cautious optimism. Retail spending hasn't surged, but it has stopped collapsing. People are still careful, still prioritizing essentials, but the sense of constant emergency has eased. That psychological shift matters. Economies are driven as much by expectations as by data. When households believe the worst might be over, they loosen their grip just enough to keep money circulating. At the same time, risks haven't disappeared. Global growth remains fragile. Geopolitical tensions continue to threaten energy prices and supply chains. Any renewed spike in inflation could force central banks back into tightening mode. And domestically, structural problems, weak productivity, skills gaps, and strained public infrastructure haven't magically resolved themselves. So is this a recovery? Not in the dramatic sense people might hope for. There's no sudden surge, no roaring comeback. What's happening looks more like a slow, uneven climb out of a deep hole. The economy isn't thriving, but it may finally be healing. Growth is modest. Improvements are fragile. Progress is real, but easily reversible. For many people, the answer depends on where they sit. Homeowners facing higher mortgage payments may not feel any recovery at all. Renters still battling high housing costs may feel left behind. Those with secure jobs and rising wages might notice life getting slightly easier. This unevenness is one of the defining features of the current moment, an economy improving on paper while still feeling harsh on the ground. The most honest conclusion is this: the UK economy appears to be stabilizing after years of shocks, and early signs of recovery are emerging. But this is not a return to comfort or confidence yet. It's a pause after pain, a chance to rebuild rather than celebrate. Whether this turns into a genuine recovery depends on what happens next: interest rates, investment decisions, political stability, and global conditions. Thanks for watching UK Economic Report. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated on the latest UK economic news, expert analysis, and financial insights that matter to you.